And good Tuesday morning.
Hello, everyone.
I, of course, am Chip Matthews. She, of course, is Taylor
Taylor
Turcott.
Turcott.
And this is the Chip Matthews Show with Taylor Turcott. Oh, what are you doing now? Okay,
What
there
are
we
you
go.
doing?
I'm just looking at what it does. I mean, we always have trouble with the TikTok.
TikTok.
TikTok, you don't rock.
I actually
Whatever.
started watching Clay this morning on TikTok. I think it popped up on my feed when I
Well,
was
it
scrolling
pops
first
up
thing.
and then it pops out. Right now it's working. So,
Yep.
Okay.
I'll allow myself a few minutes in the morning to scroll before I get to a
Okay.
dead scroll.
So I got
So?
lost yesterday. So let's go through this. So Benny Thompson, they've gotten rid of his pardon.
Run.
Gotten rid of the pardons.
Yep.
Okay. Now, of course, they will carry that to court and blah, blah, blah. But Benny.
Carry that to court. What do you mean?
And then
carry
somebody
that to
said
court?
during the
They're
breaks
voting.
yesterday, when y'all weren't on the air, you were talking about Benny. You might have said something you shouldn't have said.
Like what?
Like what? The truth. That's like
it's
Clay
not
was
like I've got classified information at my house.
It's like Clay brought up this morning. The truth is the truth.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Your pardon is no longer good.
And it's like I was listening to a budget committee thing, and they were talking about, well, Mississippi, and this wasn't Benny. This was our state legislature.
Right.
Well, we get $2.48 for every dollar we send in. One more time. It's not your money, and that other $1.48 is not our money. That belongs to another state.
Yeah.
So basically, you should take our dollar, take what out of that dollar belongs to the federal government.
Yep.
And then send us back the rest.
Yep. Well, but if it's going to the federal government, then it's kind of our money.
Well, I'm saying,
too, but
I mean, when you pay taxes,
right?
State, federal taxes, you still get money back.
Yeah. Do we really? State taxes, federal taxes, dump them all.
Well, I mean, Trump's going to get rid of the other tax, and the state of Mississippi, they're sitting down there trying to figure out. Clay was talking about the PERS thing.
Yeah.
PERS is underfunded, and the reality is they sit there and talk about it being underfunded, yet we have a $700 million surplus.
Right.
And they need $36 billion
right
to fund PERS. And that's basically all the retired people. If they were to retire today, that's how much you're committed to.
Right.
Okay. Y'all, that don't work. It doesn't work in any way you go. And stealing money from the roads doesn't help. And you're going to raise it a nickel and a nickel and a nickel. Y'all, the plan ain't working.
Right.
Y'all need to beg Elon to come help y'all do some math.
Yeah.
Because
I'm self-employed. So therefore, government people who have government jobs, y'all have it very cushy. So when you start talking to me about
see on the retirement, let's just go through this.
Glass you out a little bit.
Let's go through this. You and I are required to save out of the money that we earn.
Right.
So if the government would just pay the employees what they should pay them,
correct,
then they can invest and do it on their own also.
Right.
Rather than have a system that works the guy for 100 years at $7 an hour or 16 years at $7 an hour. And then his high 4 be his last 4 and he gets promoted up to.
I remember a personal experience with that. My grandfather, when he retired in like 1979 from a state job that he had worked from the time he was out of college all the way up through with Department of Wildlife and Fisheries.
Right.
When he received his 12th or his 13th check,
he
called my uncle and said, there's been some sort of a mistake. And my uncle said, why? What are you talking about? And he said, my 13th check is more than my entire salary for the last year that I was with the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries.
And they said, no, that's right.
And he was like, no, that's right.
The 13th check that Sharon's dad used to get every year. And he worked for Pearl.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And when he retired, and he worked in Parks and Recreation, but never had a big title or anything like that. His 13th check, and now he lived to 99.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
99. Right. So he started drawing way back there.
Right.
But his 13th check was like $50,000 a year, and or plus, and you're just going,
What? Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep. And I mean, everybody who I think would have known my grandfather knew he was not money motivated.
And you got
so he
checks
stayed
on-
with that state job. But there are a lot of people jumping in, I think, and taking advantage of the
Well, it was
the state.
it was a system they set up, but then are we investing the money? Let me ask you this.
It doesn't work anymore. In the 50s, in the 70s, it may have worked, but it doesn't work
I don't
anymore.
think it ever worked because the government doesn't take the money and put it in a retirement program for them, do they?
No.
They don't. They just put it to the side.
Right.
And
It's like Social Security for the state, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So technically, they put it to the side.
Right.
Okay. And it makes no money.
Right.
Right. And I mean, does it draw interest? Does it get anything?
Sounds to me is just as inefficient as every other government program there is.
So if you got all that money just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, and then you're expecting it to keep up with the retirees as you're getting them,
right?
And then somewhere in there somebody had to realize that at some point people made more. Like they may have started. Like if I had started at the state when I started working, the minimum wage was probably $1.80. Okay.
Okay.
So, and I was 12 when I started working, and they were holding out taxes.
Okay.
So let's say at 12 I had worked my 20 years. So, and then I left, and then when I got retirement age, I would be drawing with my first check more than anybody else. We got somebody on the phone that might be able to explain this. WYAB, good morning. Hello.
Hey, is this calling?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk to you about PERS.
Okay, explain it to me.
Well, you got a little misinformation, and I just wanted to kind of help out a little bit because I'm a retiree.
Okay.
And that money is invested.
Okay. Where do they invest it?
The problem that I don't think you're understanding is that the state workers are not paid on the same scale that industry would be paid at.
Right.
They're paid a little bit less money per month.
Right.
And the I guess what you might say the caveat to going to work for the state is that they will give you a cost of living adjustment.
Right.
And it's based on a percentage of the money that's put in.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not money that's just set aside. That money is invested.
Okay. Well, that's what I wanted to know.
The problem that PERS is getting into is that, as the market goes up, it also comes down.
Right.
And when it comes down, that's where we start getting into the problem. Now, the real problem that I see is that the legislature is not funding PERS like it should be funded.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the money,
many years.
If I take your
back, Governor Fordyce is the one that actually brought this up, and he was proposing to make changes to it. He was going to cut out the 13th check altogether. And I wrote him a letter, and I said, "Wait, Governor, you can't do that.
No, you can't.
Because you didn't." I said, "Now, I'll be willing to forego my 13th check if you'll go back and pay me what I should have been paid."
I agree.
Doing the job that's done in regular business out there. But they don't do that. See, they discount the jobs. They don't pay what you would find in the industry.
Well, that's when I was going back. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand if we're not paying people enough, okay, to do the job, then you owe them the money. And the agreements that we have made right now, we still owe them regardless, period.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I said the same thing. Now, Clay got on a tangent this morning. I tried to get in it, but I couldn't ever get in to kind of straighten him out. He's seeing something, but he's not seeing the forest for the trees.
Right.
And the problem that Clay got into, he was confusing the State Personnel Board and PERS. And PERS has nothing to do with PIN numbers or jobs or none of that. Okay, that's all State Personnel Board.
Well,
but anyway, getting back to that, there are probably a lot of jobs in state government that don't need to be there. And I saw that when I was working there. But something else that I think Clay may be missing, and a lot of people do also, is PERS is Public Employee Retirement System and not quote, quote, state of Mississippi.
Okay. Gotcha. So
now that gets be a little convoluted because if you work for the city of Crystal Springs and you're a municipal employee, you belong to PERS.
right.
That has nothing to do with state.
Right. Now my next
That's
question to you is
local government.
my question to you is this. So
Mhm.
when and I'm thinking about like in Madison County where we have two supervisors that are been in the office for 40 years. Okay.
Mhm.
And when they have family members that they change their for high by giving them a job, let's say they work 16 years at minimum wage and they last year they make $100,000. They
Right.
get paid on their high four, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know it. They a lot of people have learned how to work the system, and therein lies the problem. But again, that's the legislature needs to fix that kind of stuff.
I mean, they got to because what it helped for start with is to have what is it term limits. because when you look at
and you're talking about in the elected officials, yes,
absolutely. because in Madison County,
that's a whole nother can of worms.
In Madison County, I can find 60 people inside a building that are all related to somebody that
I understand,
and they don't want to fire anybody because if we fire a family member, then they're on my money. So.
Right.
But that's another story altogether.
Well, see, when I worked for the state, I was in charge of writing all the checks,
right,
for the state government.
Okay.
And I had 30,000 state employees that I had to write a check for once a month.
Right.
Now, can you imagine writing 30,000 checks in 1 month, every month?
Yes, I can. Actually,
that's a monumental task.
Yes, it is.
Right now.
Yes, it is, and to get them all right,
it takes quite a bit of. Now, that wasn't the entire state payroll,
right?
Because I did have some semi-monthly, and I couldn't tell you how many. Right now, it's been too long ago. I've been retired almost 12 years.
Okay.
But I had semi-monthly, and then I had weekly. The State Fair Commission gets paid weekly.
Right. Well, there's not a fair commission anymore. Andy got rid of that.
Yeah, well, that may be. But I'm saying when I was there,
right,
we wrote checks for the Fair Commission weekly.
Right.
Everybody else got paid either semi-monthly or monthly.
Wow.
The majority of the people were paid. There was 30,000 state employees that got paid monthly.
And those were checks. Those weren't direct deposits, right?
No, those were checks. But when we started, when I started work there was no such thing about direct deposit. That didn't come until later.
Well, tell me this: when you were doing that, was there a way for you to know that if you had a person that you were paying that might not exist? I'm just asking. Similar to the Social Security system where they're saying that there's checks out there that nobody knows.
No, I had no way of knowing because that would fall under either the State Personnel Board, and that wouldn't even have anything to do with PERS.
Right.
PERS don't even come into play until you retire.
No, I was just thinking about the paychecks. I was thinking
a paycheck that would fall back to the agency itself. I mean, if you had somebody that they were paying that wasn't actually there, that would Well,
I know. I mean, because you can't actually.
The state auditor ought to be looking into stuff like that.
Well, I see. And the state auditor at that time would have been who would that be? Would it have been? It'd be. Let's see. We did. I can't remember that guy's name. Oh well. Hey, interesting. It's a good topic. I enjoy talking about it. We got to take a break, but thank you for calling in.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to discuss it with you if you want to offline or something. But just let me know. You can reach out to me and we can talk about it.
Okay, I got your number.
All right. Give me a call and maybe we can meet for lunch or something.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
And we're back on a Tuesday.
Tuesday. It is a Tuesday.
Here on the Chip Matthews Show with Taylor
Another
Turcotte.
beautiful day.
Yes, it is. It's
Blue sky.
Blue skies, and the birds are flying with their bird flu.
Mm-hmm. A nice little springy
It's going
smell
to
in
be.
the air.
They're saying it's going to be crisp in the morning.
Crisp. It was crisp this morning.
Well, it's going to
crisp yesterday morning.
And it's Dixie.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dixie is a racist word, but Dixie is what I grew up to. I live in Dixie.
Yeah.
Way down south in Dixie.
Yep.
Way down south. But anyway, here we are. We're
about
talking.
as southern as you can get.
So, what do you think? Do we need to? And the PERS guy that was insightful.
It was.
I learned something.
I think that state jobs are kind of like a lifestyle, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people who had state jobs that once you get to 7, you start making decisions if you're really going to stay or not, because it's such a crappy job and it's low money. But if I stay if I retire from there in 20 years, I have a landfall at 20, but I have to go through all this crap, and so you start about 7 years deciding if you really want to stay or not.
Well, what they need to do is, how
about make it efficient?
Here's what
pay
they
them
need to do.
Regular price.
They need to decide how much money they need to fund PERS currently.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
With the current employees.
Mm-hmm.
Then they need to set up a new system that works.
Right.
Okay. That's period what you're looking at.
Right.
If there's another way, because they say the new level 5, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, do it.
Break it down to where normal
do
people
it
can
and figure out
please.
and figure it. You're sitting there with the perfect thing to fund it.
Right.
Because this week would be March Madness.
Okay.
With Ole Miss and State in the tournament.
Oh,
you could take mobile sports betting.
Now I got glassy eye.
No, you take mobile sports betting.
Okay.
Which they haven't approved yet. If they approve that, that money should be dedicated to PERS. That's a new stream. The problem is if you don't have any money, which of course we have $700 million? 700. We have a whole bunch of money laying around. We have a surplus.
There's billions, a billion surplus.
Mississippi has a surplus of money, yet we can't pay for anything. That's sort of like having a hole in the road, and you're sitting there with money in your pocket, and you're going, "It's not that big yet."
Can we do a Doge in the state of Mississippi? Can we go ahead and get on that boat and get it done? Tate's an accountant. Surely the governor would love to just go through and go, yes. This is a train wreck here.
But I mean,
cut this out.
It's Tate once was the auditor,
right?
Yeah,
and the treasurer.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's just. I'm just tired of all the inefficiency. Let's get the most for our money.
Well, Shad says he's going to moge. He's going to be Moj. Well,
Mississippi Moj instead of Doge.
Yeah, Moj instead of Doge. But the deal is,
let's get it done. We're a small state. We don't have much money. Be easy. Might as well start with Mississippi.
Yeah, and if you have too many government agencies,
be very transparent.
Get rid of some.
Exactly. Let's make it. Let's make the state government. Let's make the national government run efficiently. Let's make it run like a business.
A
for-profit business.
Well, the only difference is. You have to.
We don't need much, I would think.
Each year, and see, that's why I don't understand the surplus, because each year, the legislature has to come up with a budget,
right,
and spend all the money on paper,
right.
Okay, so if you have a surplus of money,
right,
and you don't allocate it to go anywhere,
right.
One time we just said we put it over in. I think the last few years we put extra money into broadband. Or this, that, and the other, where it could sit because we weren't really doing anything with it.
Right.
So now we have this extra money. What's the plan? I mean, you budget the money, and it's sort of like what Trump says. We budget, we're budgeting everything according to the way that the Democrats budgeted us in the last quarter of last year. Every dollar we save, we're fixing to give back to the people because it's their money.
Right.
And that's what everybody needs to realize. Tax dollars or our money.
Well, what are we as a nation going to do when we find out that 80% of the spending of our governments is unneeded? Because I think that's where we're going. I asked somebody yesterday, as far as Doge goes, how far in are we? If you look at Doge as a complete project, are we 20% in? Are we 10% in?
Now here's the other part of that question is this. if Mississippi, if we give $1 and we get $2.48 back.
Right.
Okay. So do we get another state's $1.48? Or do we just print another $1.48, which you got to print some more because you also got to take care of the needs of the federal government?
Have they already printed it and that's why they're willing to give it back to us?
I mean, they keep printing money.
Is that $1.48 already printed?
Yeah. And then they send it over to the other place. I mean, they said, we're sending money to Ukraine, everywhere else in the world. And then, of course, today we're talking to Putin.
We are.
And I've decided
Trump is.
Zelensky, his name reminds me of, he's a figure skater. Think about that for just a second.
Wow. He dances well and
we got two hockey players in
Probably
Putin.
Walks better than I do.
We got two hockey players. We got Putin and Trump, and Zelensky's just a figure skater.
That's true.
I need some money.
And he's out doing wide circles and pirouettes or whatever you call them around the outside.
I'm going to kill some people today and then feel some good.
Well,
I
wouldn't be surprised if we find out that Russia's not really as bad as we think it is. Just like all of these politicians people that they've been telling us is horrible. The media's been telling you this is a horrible person for so long, and you find out he's actually kind of got his stuff together. And
the reality is you've got to have some. It's sort of like Spy versus Spy,
right?
That used to be in Mad magazines.
Right.
The white spy and the black spy. You've got to have discord between two. And
correct.
And since China really doesn't talk to us that much, Putin's the only one.
Right.
And everybody always liked the Russia, whatever. Rocky even did the Russia war.
Right. But
but Russia, if you think about Rocky first was about a black and white war.
Right.
Okay. And then it went on with Apollo Creed and went up.
Right.
Then it went to a white versus white guy, but they made sure he was Russian. Because that's the only way you have to gather the troops. And not everybody wants to fight.
I would challenge anybody who has a TikTok account to go follow some Russian people and see what their lifestyles are like.
Oh, geez. Now you're just getting us all into
because they have TikTok in Russia.
Yeah.
So go follow and see what possibly one of Putin's people might say about him.
Oh my God.
Because if I'm going to make a judgment about a world leader, I kind of think that I would want to go to his people to see how he treats them.
If I got to start worrying about you, you are blonde-headed.
I am blonde.
You could be a Russian.
I'll say it. If the United States went to crap, Russia is probably where I would try to go.
Holy cow. Y'all, I'm sorry I'm exposing y'all to a Russian dissident.
A communist.
Communism.
No, I think that they may live a better, cleaner lifestyle than we do over there. That I would be willing to bet that if you tuned into some TikToks, you would see some quite.
I would say this: if you moved to Russia, you would hate it. There is nowhere in the world. Understand this, and live it, because you've lived here.
I have
for entirely too long.
I have.
There is no place in the world better
than the United States.
Than Mississippi
I will grant you that. I will grant you that.
Okay. There is no place you want to live other than here.
But if this falls, where would you go? If the United States fell, where would you, and you could flee, where would you flee to? Because
Mexico, to the beach.
I
might as well be on a beach.
I don't know.
But
I'm just saying.
Okay, let's take a break.
People think about it.
We're going to come back. It looks like we're going to have to Americanize you again.
Fully American.
We'll be right back here on the Chip Matthews Show with Taylor Turcotte
Plan B
on WYAB. Hey, everybody. Willow. And we're back on the Chip Matthews Show with Comrade Taylor Turcott.
Comrade.
You're Comrade now.
Am I?
Yeah, I mean, blonde-headed.
I mean, yeah, I fit there. I'm blue-eyed. Well, mine aren't blue, but
well,
they're close
bloodshot.
enough.
They're bloodshot.
They are.
Red
I have
and blue.
makeup on. So
Okay, and we know that
bloodshot.
by the way, Ole Miss will find out who they're playing in the tournament after the teams to North Carolina and I don't know, was it San Diego State? I can't remember. They played today and then they'll advance, but Ole Miss has got a good seed. State, you got a tough road, buddies. But it ought to be interesting.
Yep.
It ought to be interesting. And then, of course, there's baseball.
Oh, God.
So, okay, I'm through. I'm through.
I can't get in. I just have to sit
Tonight,
here
Ole Miss plays Southern Mississippi in baseball here in town.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, at least it's USM. That's my school.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. We're going to beat you again.
Wow.
But anyway.
We weren't known for sports.
Hotty toddy, everybody.
To the top.
Okay. To the top.
Yeah. That's
what does that mean?
I don't know. Southern Mississippi to the top.
Okay. You got a volleyball court. We paid for it.
I guess so.
Taxpayers.
That's long. I've been gone a long time for the USM.
Okay.
Long time.
Okay, so we're back live here. What are we going to talk about? So we were talking about
Russia and Putin.
America and Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi is the greatest place to live in the entire world. You do realize that?
I do. I mean, I live here.
I look at people all the time. And
I could have lived anywhere I wanted to in the country with the company. I was with Dyson for 5 years, and Dyson Vacuums told me, we will give you any job you want as long as you will, and you can move anywhere you want as long as you will move near a hub airport that we can get you in and out of. And I said, I'm not leaving Jackson.
That's because the rest of the world sucks.
The rest of the world sucks. But if Mississippi goes to pot and we have to go somewhere else, where would you go? I would go to Russia, most likely.
No, I would go to La Jolla, California.
Wow. I mean, just go to where the side of the earth is going to drop off in California.
Well, that's okay. See, I know that I'm okay in my beliefs that if I die tomorrow, I'm going to heaven. So
well, I'm pretty secure in that as well.
Okay.
But as long as I'm here on this horrible planet.
And everybody out there listening, know your future, and then you don't worry about anything else. And your future is you want to die and go to heaven.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
But God expects you to have a contingency plan as well.
But while you're here, you have got to make the world better each and every day. That is what my goal is with me running for office. I want Canton, unfortunately, to go back in time and be a great place with businesses around the square and this, that, and the other. And that is my goal.
Yep.
And why I'm running for mayor.
Yep.
You are running for a council person in Jackson.
I am.
And it is more important. And that's a more important position than the mayor. The mayor's kind of the cheerleader for the town and the guy that's supposed to get everything done.
Right.
You're supposed to be able to call the mayor and say, I got a hole in the road, fix it. Hole in the road. But the people that, when the people don't call you the mayor, the councilman and the alderman call the mayor.
Right.
The councilman keeps up with their section. If everybody would keep up with their little section.
Yep.
So when y'all thinking about this mayor's race in Jackson, you got to have the top dog CEO, which would be Kim Wade, to run things.
Yep.
But then the rest of those cities, you need to be worried about these alderman races and councilman races, because those are the people that are making the laws that have to be done. They're the ones spending your money.
And we're the closest to the people.
Right. And that's and a lot of people don't realize that Mississippi is a bottom-up state, meaning the people have more power than the governor. Okay? But they took our ballot initiative away from us. So we don't have that power in the government, state government anymore. But if you wanted to file a complaint in a election, it has to start with the people. And if the people and they're so beat up by lawmakers who have not corrected the laws.
Yes, we are.
In the election stuff.
I feel like one of those people.
They do not feel like they can challenge, because when you lose or were cheated in your election and you go to turn it in,
Yep.
they
ignore you.
You've got to everybody smile when you're looking at you that you grew up with, because you grew up in Mississippi, and it got to be, you can't be a sore loser. Well, we lost because we cheated. No, we're not going to say people cheated. Now you quit that.
Right.
We're not going to talk about our neighbors like that. We're not going to talk about our neighbors like that. Well, we need to report this. Well, you go to the sheriff department or whatever. Well, we're going to turn it over to the DA and let them look at it. But, you really just got beat. And then, and all of this talking you out of it, you only got a 7 or 14-day window to get it all filed.
Exactly. So, and you have to have it done before it certifies, because then it certifies and then it's legal and it's a mess.
Right. And you sit there and you look at these things and you just go, why? Lawmakers act like they hadn't got nothing else to do. You've got 2 different bills going, and you're not going to want to pass either one of them. On the sales tax. You haven't given us back our ballot initiative. Hadn't even spoken about giving us back our ballot initiative. That's Delbert ain't gonna let us have it.
Right.
As long as Delbert's in charge, we ain't getting a ballot initiative, because he wants all the power. He doesn't want
unless you start calling his office and telling him you want it.
Yeah, everybody. No, it ain't gonna change. They got 3 weeks. They got now.
Well, that's true.
2 weeks, 4 days, 3 days now.
There's always next year. Go ahead and start tormenting him now.
There's always special session.
True. Start tormenting him now.
Oh yeah.
What's his phone number? Should we give out his phone?
We need to do that next week. We need to get on the stick and tell people, let's get something done.
Mm-hmm.
Pass some laws, do some work. We keep talking about
do some work, don't pass any laws.
Well, they need to pass some laws. They need to pass some election laws.
Well, election laws. Yes. Let's work on laws we already have and give them teeth.
Trump and all that, they've put out on a post and they've made that mandate to every state that election day is election day and needs to be over on that day.
Yep.
They also need
talking about paper ballots.
Right. We have paper ballots.
Well, but that.
Yeah, we have paper ballots. So they run through a scanner to count.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay. As long as the paper ballots are not compromised, and everybody goes, well, that can't be
as long as there's chain of custody for those paper ballots is what we need.
Right. We need better training.
We do.
And we need teeth to where the Secretary of State can be contacted.
Yep.
And there's something that would happen. Like, for instance, you have polling places where there are people that have worked 30, 40 years in the polling place.
Yep.
And they still don't know what they're doing.
Right.
But they get that $200 check.
Yep. But the ballot boxes aren't sealed going out the door.
And and the election commissioners are, heck, they don't get paid enough to do what they do. They don't get PERS. You want to talk about a problem? Those people work harder than all of us to get us all in the office, and they don't get PERS.
Wow. Yeah, we need some rethinking.
And then these people are elected to do a job that is thankless, and then. We've learned recently that they have to certify the election regardless of the results, even when they find fraud. Mm-hmm. That's the law. It is an administrative action.
They tell you that it has to be certified in order for you to start the ballot box inspection or whatever else, or whatever you want to do. But once it's certified, it becomes final.
Right.
So it's almost like, well, you have to wait for it to finish all the way out before you can. It's
the
crazy.
system sucks. And because you're in office, you're going, that's sour grapes. Y'all just having sour grapes. No, I think everybody running for office needs to have to go work. You can't run for office. It's part of the qualifying. You have to work a poll. And I think that has to be the job. You work a poll, because you would see what goes on and what we're speaking of. And even in poll worker training and this, that, and the other through the Secretary of States and all of that and getting certified, so many people don't pay attention. They're hoping that there's 7 other people in the room with them that day that somebody knows and somebody took it out. And what you have is a collection of almost getting it right.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that it's very long days, and who has, if you're going to have a 1-day vote, who has time for 1 day a year?
No, I'm saying I'm all for absentee voting like we have.
Right.
And then on election day, if you don't bring in your ID, you don't get those 7 extra days after the election. Those 7 extra days are 7 days of fraud.
Yep.
And it was something Delbert put in the law
Yep.
originally, and it should have been sunset law.
Yep.
At first, the NAACP were saying it's not fair, blah blah blah, because everybody doesn't have an ID.
Of course they do.
Okay, we know that nationwide, but Delbert, he caves to the NCAA and all of them. Not the NCAA, NAACP.
Yep.
NCAA he doesn't cave to them. That's baseball.
Yeah, I was going to
Football,
say that has
basketball. That's college sports. But anyway, but he caved to them and gave 7 days. But it should have had a sunset law to end. Then the other thing that we need to do that everybody else can do, and back when I was growing up, you could do, count all the votes on election
day.
Period.
There's no reason. I mean, all of a sudden in 2020, we have a hard time getting the ballots in overnight.
And
we've been counting ballots and counting elections for at least 200 years, and all of a sudden we have trouble counting overnight.
The only thing I can come up with is DEI and government workers that they hire who can't count past 1,000.
No, it all started in Atlanta when they busted a pipe.
Oh, that's there. I mean, in Mississippi, they haven't been counting ballots through the night in a long time.
But the elections are always over the night of the election.
Right.
Why all of a sudden are we having to wait a week for our election results?
We have to wait a week for everybody to bring in their ID.
No, we have to wait a week so we know how many votes we need to make up between now and then.
Yeah. I mean, you open it up to fraud.
Exactly.
And y'all don't do anything about it. But anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll be back here on the Chip Matthews Show with Taylor Turcotte on WYAB. Look.
Huh?
Yeah. And we're back on a Tuesday for our final segment here on the Chip Matthews Show with Taylor Turcott. If you ever see our names anywhere on a ballot, vote for us.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, look at this. I was looking on the status of bills. There's an app you can download. Okay, let's just look. Okay, now the whole goal here is we need money to fund something, right?
Okay.
So that means you want money to come in or you want to rearrange the money you have.
Correct.
Okay, let's just go through this. Income tax authorizing a credit for added tax revenue for certain non-gaming capital investment projects at casino. That's a take money away, right?
Okay.
Build Up Mississippi Act. They're going to create it.
Okay.
I'm sure that's taking money away. Property Cleanup Revolving Fund, taking money away.
Okay.
Income tax authorizing tax credit for companies engaged in television production.
What?
Yeah, if you doing television production, we're going to give you a tax credit. So that's more taxes going back.
Okay.
Kratom product, which they can't decide if they want to legalize it or not.
Right.
But they're going to impose an excise tax on it. There you go. There's a sin tax. That's a plus. They talk about how much they hate kratom, but we're going to tax it. Okay. Taxation revised various tax credits. That's an amendment. So we're going to move some stuff around. Ad valorem tax specify provisions for determining the true value of rural structure. That's a plus. They're going to come out and say that's worth more than that. Northwest Regional Alliance authorized Tate, Panola, Lafayette, and Yalobusha counties to form an economic development. That makes sense. Appropriations, that's when you give money to something, to the Auctioneers Commission. Okay. Appropriation for the Tom Beverly River Valley Water Management District. Appropriation for the Nursing Home Administration Board. Appropriation for the Psychology Board. Appropriation for the Real Estate Appraisers Licensing Certificate Board. That's all money going out.
Okay.
There's some commitments, blah, 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 blah. And this is what I'm looking at. Authorized to purchase certain real property known as the East Hamilton Street properties in the city of Jackson. Why would we want to buy some property in Jackson? Okay.
Where is the property in Jackson?
East Hamilton Street properties. Okay. And so we're going to buy something. Cigarettes
Hamilton
and vape
would have to be in
products
Pleasant
require
Hill.
commission of review to establish separate directories, regulate sale up. I don't know what that is. They want to rename the State Fire Academy. Let's see what MDOT authorized to transfer property in Harrison County to the city of Gulfport. That's okay. We can do that. Let's do that. But as I look through this, I don't see anything saying we need to, we could speak.
Right.
I don't see anybody saying, I mean, I know that big bill number 1 that's been revised for taxes, and all that does is move tax dollars around. And then, I mean, what do we do? What do we do?
What do we do?
Would you get closer to that mic? Because it's about to be over.
You were.
I'm just reading the stuff going.
I was just leaning back a little bit, taking a little bit of a rest while you read to us a bunch of. I mean,
that's what
my problem as a citizen. I need more transparency from my lawmakers. I mean, it's so.
You can go to the website and watch the things. You can.
Yeah, you
committees.
You can. But I mean, yeah, I'm just frustrated with it all.
Well, government thinks we need to spend money.
Government thinks we need to spend money.
And then we have to tax people to get more money.
Yeah, I would rather y'all start looking at trying to save us some money first. How about let's focus
okay,
on
well,
that.
we're not going to solve it, so say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Taylor Turcott is out of here. I'm Chip Matthews. I'm out of here. Jameson Haygood show is next, and we'll try to solve some problems next week.
Yes. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.